Shalom. This week we are reading Parashat Lech Lecha in Genesis chapter 12. You know, we are now 3 weeks into Sefer Bereshit. 3 weeks we've been in the book of Genesis, and things are happening so fast. Events are transpiring at such an overwhelming pace. They're just overtaking us, and I feel like I don't have the time to process what's going on. So much has happened. We started with creation from nothing. 10 generations later, Hashem is so disappointed with the world that he decides to destroy it through the flood. And he gives humanity a chance to start all over again with one man, Noach. And then at the end of that Torah portion, Parashat Noach, again we have a situation that's untenable. We have the situation of the Tower of Babel. So what happened really? What was accomplished? The generation of the flood, it seems, was totally into denial of God, and the generation of the tower was trying to basically do battle with God, and both were really not at all what God had in mind, as it were, when he thought of creating the world. Where is his nachat? Where is his satisfaction with humanity? What is going on here? And again, things are happening so far. Do you ever wonder about the chronology of the book of Bereshit and maybe what's being said and what's not being said? Because the Torah communicates just as much through the white spaces with what's between the lines, it's not recorded, as what is recorded. And of course, things are going so fast, and our heads are spinning from events that have overtaken us as the generations whiz by us, but we're supposed to be getting something out of the life lessons of what's being told to us here. So we had these 10 generations from Adam to Noah, and we had this disappointment and the second chance, and then we have the tower, and it seems like not much was really fixed yet, and so maybe God is wondering what's the reason for creation. And then at the end of last week's Torah portion of Noah, we have another 10 generations after all from Noah leading up to Avraham. And suddenly, at the end of Parashat Noah, we have a chronology of Shem. And these 10 generations that are recorded, they actually span the time from Noah until the birth of Avraham. And what do we know here? What did we see at the end of Genesis chapter 11, at the end of Parashat Noach? We find this character, Avraham, is introduced onto the scene, and he has his wife Sarai, and we heard the chronology. And they left Ur Kasdim to go to Canaan. And Ur Kasdim is an unbelievable concept that our sages tell us about, the fire or the light of the Chaldees. Ur Kasdim is a signal that is really revealing to us, that is really alluding to a vast chapter in the history of the world, the time of tremendous idolatry and rebellion and denial of God. And comes along Avram, at that time he was called, later to become Avraham, and he stood up with great faith and principle and belief in this one God who he claimed was a creator of heaven and earth. And our sages tell us in amazing midrashic detail about how, in punishment for his faith in the one God, Avram was thrown into this fiery furnace by this wicked king Nimrod. And he came out of that. He emerged unscathed. And the midrash tells us that when Avram came out of this fiery furnace, it was so fiery that they couldn't even go near it to get him out. He comes out, and his clothes aren't even singed. So all these idolaters, they all start bowing down to him. They say, "Oh, you're the man we've been looking for. We made a mistake all this time. It must be you." And Avram said, "No, because what I accomplished here is nothing. It's just the work of this one creator that I've been telling you about, creator of heaven and earth. He is actually behind everything." And that was really the beginning of Avram's career. He's thrown into this fiery furnace that is alluded to by these mysterious words. He left Ur Kasdim, and he was punished for his beliefs, but he he came through it. And then he embarked upon this incredible career. What would you call him exactly? He was a missionary or a wandering minstrel. He was a guru. He was a healer. He gave workshops, self-help, all kinds of retreats. That's actually what he did. He came along and he was just unbelievably motivated with incredible personal conviction. And he had this one-man campaign to bring the knowledge of God to everyone in the world. And that's what our father Avraham was all about. That's what the Jewish people are supposed to be all about. But getting back to my question about the chronology of the book of Genesis, it just leaves me wondering. Things are going so quickly. We just started the year and we went so fast. I didn't have time to really process what I was learning in these Parashat, Bereshit, all the secrets of creation, and then that didn't work out, and then the flood and everything, and now we're up to Avram. But there must have been a lot of other people in these generations, and they must have filled their days with all sorts of strivings and hopes and accomplishments. We don't hear about them. All of a sudden now, at the end of Parashat Noach, with very little fanfare, we have this description of these 10 generations. Avram is introduced, and I want to know why now? Why now, right after the incident of the tower and the dispersion of those people that were rebelling against God, trying to make that name for themselves, all of a sudden Avram is introduced onto the scene. And again, as much as is revealed, and as much as is expressed by the words of the Torah, there are also things that are not said. And so really, what about everything else that transpired from the very beginning of time until suddenly Avraham makes his bold, remarkable, unparalleled stand for the oneness of God? What about everybody else? What's so special about him? So maybe part of the mystery is revealed to us a little bit later on in next week's Torah portion, in Parashat Vayera. There we find that when God sent these angels to visit Avraham, and he was going to destroy the wicked cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, we find there an amazing verse. It's a little bit later again. It's in Genesis chapter 18 and verse 17. And Hashem said, "Shall I conceal from Abraham what I do? Now that Abraham is surely to become a great and mighty nation, and all the nations of the earth shall bless themselves by him? For I have loved him, because he commands his children and his household after him, that they keep the way of Hashem, doing charity and justice, in order that Hashem might bring upon Abraham that which he had spoken to him." So maybe the mystique of Avram has something to do with this, some sort of moral code, some sort of legacy that's been entrusted to him, that is being entrusted to him, where God says, I can't hold anything back from Avraham. He is the one through whom everybody else in the world is going to be blessed. I have loved him because he commands his children and his household after him that they keep the way of Hashem. So maybe it has something to do with that. Maybe that's why not much else is happening around here, from Adam to Noach and then to Avraham. Maybe it goes even further back. Maybe the mystery can be unraveled way back in the beginning, before Avram's time, back in Parashat Bereshit, where we have, in the very beginning of chapter 5 in Bereshit, we have this mysterious verse. This is the account of the descendants of Adam on the day that God created man. He made him in the likeness of God. This is the very beginning of chapter 5, and we read in verse 2, we read, He created them male and female. He blessed them and called their name man on the day they were created. And in Hebrew, that is Biyom Hibaram, and it's a very unusual usage. It's a very unusual contraction, I guess you'd call it. On the day that they were created. And this word Hibaram is the exact letters of the word Avraham. And our sages tell us that this really is informing us and instructing us that on the day that they were created, male and female, on the day that Adam was created, well, they were really created for the sake of Avraham. Avraham is the one who really goes and continues the legacy of Adam. So on that very day that Adam was created, it was Biyom Hibaram. It was on the day that they were created, as it were, foreshadowing in the merit of, with the expectation of, with the hope of Avraham, those same letters. So really what I'm trying to say is the question about the chronology. Why is Avraham introduced exactly here? Parashat Lech Lecha. After everything we've been through, and all our heads are spinning with all these generations, 10 generations and another 10 generations, 20 generations since the beginning, we've had paradise lost and found, we've had the destruction through the flood, and another chance, the tower, everybody is still pretty much looking out for themselves. Things are not going well. Where is God's nachat? Where is his satisfaction? This is why he created man, so that they could be squirreling about with their little petty foibles, with their little intrigues, trying to rebel against him, trying to banish his name from the world. Comes along Avraham, and he says, no, I know the name. There's only one. He's thrown into the fire for it, comes out, starts this career. So I'll tell you why Avraham is introduced to us here in Genesis 12, and why we meet him now, and why not much else was happening in between the lines, and why this parsha is juxtaposed to the end of Parashat Noach and everything that's happened until now, and why we had that chronology. It's so beautiful, this idea. Because God was disappointed. And he made that pretty clear. And nothing seems to be working out with these people. And maybe he is wondering, who's going to give me what I asked for? Who's going to make a place for me in this world? Validate creation. Show that it was a good idea. Stand up for my name. And that's Avraham. So Avraham became the guarantor that this type of thing stops. Avraham became the reason for continuing. Avraham and everything that he would do and accomplish, and everything that he stands for, and everything he was to give over to his children, and everything he went into the fire for, became God's insurance that the reasons, the type of things going on, the reasons for why he had to close the curtain on the whole creation through the flood, that doesn't happen again, that it stops, that type of society and all of those abuses and excesses, that no longer will be the norm. That's why Avraham comes onto the scene now, because God is answering our question. When we look here at the verses, God is explaining to us, I really am sick and tired of these games. And now, let's get serious. And Avraham is going to be the one who is going to give over to the world the reason for creation on the day that they were created, man and woman. Why did I bring them into the world in the first place? And God says, I have loved him because of what he teaches his children, to go in the way of Hashem. So Avraham is the guarantee, the insurance that God says that I don't have to do this again, and that there is a reason for creation, and it will be up to him to bring this knowledge into the world. And this is the only explanation for the world's totally disproportionate obsession with the Jewish problem. Those guilty pulls of conscience. Because Avraham's legacy to his children is to validate creation and not to give God a reason to want to destroy the world again. And it's that pull of conscience, and it's that reminder of the existence of God in the world, and the reason for creation, and the purpose of human destiny. It's that legacy that Avraham bequeathed to his children, and it's that call to action and to integrity and the valor of taking a stand for God. It's that very quality that irks the world so much, the guarantee of our father Avraham.